Upon its initial release in 2013, Thor: The Dark World received mixed to generally positive reviews from critics. The film currently holds a 66% fresh rating on the popular website Rotten Tomatoes, as well as a 7.0 on the International Movie Database, IMDb. When the film was released, people said, "Yo, it's a bloody fun time at the cinema, mates, it's fun, it's fine. It's fine, but it's fun, you know?" But today, I'd like to discuss why Thor: The Dark World is actually a masterpiece. Thor: The Dark World tells the story of Malekith, an elf with a tortured past. Malekith desires to release the ether upon the 9 realms, but is stopped by Bor, Odin's father. Golden Globe nominee Christopher Eccleston delivers a truly heartbreaking performance as Malekith, and I believe Eccleston was snubbed for the Best Supporting Actor nomination in 2013. When discussing the best comic book movie villains of all time, people will often list Heath Ledger's Joker or Tom Hardy's Bane, but in reality, it's Eccleston's Malekith. Malekith's desire to release the ether is so compelling, and the exploration of the ether itself is, in my opinion, genius. What do we know about the ether? Not one thing, but I think that's the point. Director Alan Taylor knows what to put in the frame and what not to, and I think this is what sets Taylor apart from directors like Scorsese as a true master of his craft. The film also explores the vulnerability of its protagonist and the character of Thor. When we see Thor bathing himself after the Battle of Vanaheim, we learn a lot about his character. Not only is it an extremely sexy scene, but we learn that Thor as a character has a six-pack abs. Alan Taylor's direction also brings a vibrancy to the film. His use of shot reverse shot is, in my opinion, better than Fincher's. Oscar winner Anthony Hopkins also delivers the best performance of his career.
And how many of our men shall fall on theirs?
As many as are needed! As many as are needed! As many as are needed! As many as are...
Hopkins also delivers the most realistic depiction of a stroke in cinematic history. The score by Tyler Bates also perfectly complements what's on screen, as it sounds like cheap stock music. It would be a crime, however, if I failed to mention the more technical aspects of this film. The cinematography is immaculate. It looks like muddy lake water. And this metaphor brilliantly explains the central theme of the film. Lake water, on its own, is something entirely pure, but when mud is thrown into it, it becomes corrupted and unclean. I believe the cinematography perfectly complements the film's central theme, that of desire. Human beings, like lake water, are pure and innocent, but desire, like mud, causes them to become corrupt. Oftentimes in cinema, people will point to specific characters and say they're just the comic relief. When it comes to the character of Darcy, however, I believe this assumption is entirely unfair. Kat Dennings was on Two Broke Girls, one of the funniest shows of all time.
Wow, bummer, dude. You have a time machine and somehow got programmed to this crap diner?
I must admit, I am quite taken with steampunk.
Oh, steampunk! Right, I remember that trend. It happened for like 10 seconds back in 2000 and are you kidding me? Dude, seriously, you were sitting in a public place tapping on an old
typewriter?
And is one of the best character actresses alive today. And the character of Darcy Lewis has one of my favorite character arcs of all time. Darcy begins the film in a state of immaturity, yet seeking more. And through Alan Taylor's masterful direction, this is explored wonderfully in scenes such as her interruption of Jane Foster's date with Richard. In this scene, we see Darcy's desire to want what Jane has. When Richard asks,
Could we get some wine, please?
Darcy responds with,
Sure, I'd love some.
the nuances in Kat Dennings' performance truly emphasize the naivety of Darcy as a character. Darcy is in a state of selfishness and only thinking of herself. However, this all changes with the introduction of the character Ian Boothby, played by Jonathan Howard.
This is the reason we came all the way out here.
It's malfunctioning.
That's what I said. That's what I did. I thought you'd do something a little more scientific.
When Darcy meets Boothby, everything Darcy knows is flipped on its head, and she is forced to adapt. Boothby challenges Darcy's ideals of what it means to live a normal life. Later in the film, when Darcy is sucking face, she realizes this. And what's more, she realizes that there is a greater world beyond herself. The Dark World. And that is where the title of the film comes from. The Dark World can of course be seen as a reference to Malekith's homeworld, but I think what director Alan Dalla was getting at was that there is a dark world in all of us. And it is for that reason that I believe Thor the Dark World is Kevin Feige's masterpiece. Marvel Studios consistently produces quality entertainment, but Thor the Dark World is the only film of theirs that I would consider a true masterpiece. It is the only Marvel film that for me can be ranked among the greats, such as The Godfather in Citizen Kane. And I think for these reasons, Thor the Dark World will be considered a classic in years to come. This is a video I've wanted to make for a long time, as Thor the Dark World is one of my favorite films. I produce new video essays every month, and if you'd like to support my Patreon, the money from there goes towards getting better equipment, such as upgrading my camera to 480p and buying cheap microphones. If you haven't seen Thor the Dark World in a spell and remember it just being alright, then I implore you to revisit it, because in my opinion, it is truly a masterpiece. Anyone who leaves a like will get sent a Thor the Dark World Blu-ray in the mail.